Welcome to the Let's Talk Paralegal podcast, where the legal industry gets real. I'm your host, Eda Rosa, legal consultant, speaker, and founder of Eda Rosa LLC and the Limitless Paralegal Academy. This isn't your stuffy legal studies school lecture. We're talking mindset, money, modern workflows, and how to build a career and a life you don't need a vacation from. Let's cut the fluff, raise the bar, and change the game one conversation at a time. If you like what you hear, feel free to share and send us your feedback. Now let's talk paralegal. Welcome to season 6 of Let's Talk Paralegal. And we're not easing in this time. This episode is for every legal professional who's ever felt the disconnect, the ones who are watching their firms run on outdated systems, their inboxes overflow, and wondering why nothing's working like it used to. Well, here's the truth. The legal industry has changed, the rules have shifted, and the professionals who thrive in this new era, they're the ones who are evolving with it, not resisting it. Today, we're diving into the reset that's happening all around us. Tech, culture, leadership, mindset, and why it's not enough to just keep up anymore. It's time to lead. If you've been waiting for a sign to shift, this is it. Listen in for more. Hey guys, it's your girl Eda, and welcome to the first episode of season 6. I am so excited. You know what? The legal industry isn't just shifting, it's reshaping at warp speed. This episode is a bold wake-up call for all legal professionals, stuck in yesterday's systems, reminding them that the world they've trained for is really not the world they were working in now. From AI tools to client expectations to law firm structures, we're entering a new era, and the professionals who thrive will be the ones best to adapt to this new world. And unfortunately, that's just the lay of the land, right? We have to learn to adapt and morph ourselves into different versions of ourselves. We don't need to change completely who we are in the core, but we do need to scale and grow our skills, right? But on a personal note, it's wild to think that we've been here for 6 seasons and 4 years, going on 5 years soon. And if you have been here from the start, I see you. We have a lot going on this season, so buckle up. Everything is new. You probably heard it before we even started this episode with our new intros and new music. And we are upscaling and growing ourselves because we are firm believers that we need to practice what we preach. So what we need to start thinking about today is the legal industry is changing. So are you changing? Are you looking? What is going on, right? So what's different now? Everybody keeps saying this. So you're probably asking yourself, well, what's different now? Remote work is the norm, not a perk. AI is a tool, not a threat. Burnout is super loud and present, and boundaries are even louder. Clients want transparency and speed, not just accuracy. And law firms are hiring differently, training differently, and you're either surviving or you're not. So this is really where, the legal industry has room for growth, right? We need to start understanding that the new employees and employers are looking for a different framework of how we work and what that looks like. We're looking at different types of tools that we didn't really have present in the legal industry up until recent. And burnout is a thing. We're talking about it. We're trying to set boundaries, and we're sticking to our boundaries because most of us, honestly, we had boundaries. We just never really set them up, and we never were firm about it. So yeah, I'm going to work 9 to 5. I will put my all in those 9 to 5. I will still take my 30-minute or 1-hour lunch break, and I am going to actually eat and focus on myself. I am going to put my do not disturb 30-minute, 15-minute, 20 minutes a day so that I can actually get real work done. This new environment of me working from home is supposed to provide me with flexibility, and I'm going to own that. I'm still going to get my work done on time. I'm not going to miss any deadlines. I'm going to do what's expected of me, but within the time frame that is provided, and that's within my description. And more people I see, especially in my world, that are joining the academy and the tour and all the new tools that I'm going to go ahead and provide you at the end of the episode, they're really creating this community of thriving, not surviving, right? We are no longer in a sink or swim situation because we are the ones holding the lifesaver all along. We have that buoy permanently attached to us, and we are not going to sink because we have a full-on team and support around us willing to see us through and assist us when we think we're drowning. And that's really what transparency is all about, and speed and accuracy. That's what's really going to help us provide the same boundaries, the same speed, transparency, pro-efficiency, efficiency, you name it, to the clients and to the communities that we serve. I always say this on the podcast. We serve communities. We are community servants. And that is not going to change anytime soon, regardless of the tools and the policies and the regulations and the way that we're looking at how we provide our work and our skills. How do we grow that? And that can only happen with skills that matter the most. We often focus on just the CLE core courses, right? We often focus on things like ethics because it's honestly required. We have to. Confidentiality, another one. We often focus on the hard skills, right? Like legal writing, legal research, drafting, civil litigation, new civil procedures, learning your systems at your job. And all that is great and obviously necessary, right? We need those tools. Those are always skills that we're going to need to focus on. But these are some skills that still matter just as much, which is adaptability. Really, how are you adapting to your fluency of technology? Are you learning these AI tools? Are you embracing the shifts? And how are you going to do that in a remote setting? Communication is getting harder and harder, even though we have all these avenues. We have text messaging, social media, podcasting, video, YouTube. We have all these things, right? And yet communication has become more and more dissolving than actually resolving, right? So that takes a mindset shift, and you're going to hear about that more on the upcoming episodes with Maria, which I'm super excited for you guys to hear it. But you have to shift your perspective in order to really be the change and make that change that you want to see. You want to get out of burnout. You want to get out of anxiety. You want to get out of this stressful environment. You have all the power within your hands and in between your ears to do so. So do it. Stop making excuses. Stop placing obstacles in front of you. And if you see obstacles that are real, such as financial hardships, such as pivoting, such as, well, I'm a single mom or a single parent and I have responsibilities. Those are all excuses. Anybody can do what they want to do if they set themselves and dedicate themselves into improving their situation. You have the tools, you have transferable skills, you have the knowledge to really take that and make magic out of it. So by adapting to these fluencies, these remote communications, and by obviously changing your mindset and your perspective, that is the first step in building a strong foundation to your future, your career, and your growth. Business acumen. We often don't learn about this. We don't learn about the business portion of law firms, of our careers, and how that directly affects our actual jobs. So understanding what profit is. The billable hour was invented because law firms didn't come at this. They're not nonprofit. They're not doing this for free. They have to make profit. They have to pay their bills and they have to pay essentially yours, right? They're responsible for you in some way, shape, or form. Automation, definitely. You have to learn these things, how to automize as much as possible and how to elevate as much as possible. how to create a team flow, bouncing back ideas from other people that may be stronger in that one department that you're still learning to grow in. Really not depending on them, but counting on them. And really leaning into it and learning and embracing that it's okay to be not okay, but it's also okay to say, hey, I'm not that strong at this. I really need to start learning more in order for me to remove my blind spots, in order for me to grow. There's a famous saying that I read in one of my books that I love to read. I have 20 books pending to read. But one of the books that I read, and I often see it in like a meme or one of those little, shorts, and it says, in order for the plant to thrive, you don't change the plant, you change the environment. And at first I thought about it as a physical thing. I have to physically remove myself from the current environment I'm in. But environment can also be the way you look at your current environment. If you have a messy desk, is it organized? Do you know where things are? Does it make sense to you? Well, then who cares? If it doesn't, if it creates chaos, if it creates unorganized thoughts, if it manifests everything that's in you, well, then yes, it's time to organize it and put it in a way where it makes sense for you. What may look messy for one person may not be as messy for the other person. And that is just a real, honest, raw truth. Something that I had to grasp as a recovering perfectionist, as a type A personality, as a D in the discs algorithms, and all the personality tests that told me I was strong, I was dedicated, and I was motivated. And although that is all true, there's also a downside to being strong, motivated, and ambitious. It's where they call the bull effect, where I'm looking at this target and I don't care what gets in my way, I'm going to buzzle through. And even though that's a great thing to have, it also ruins relationships because we don't stop and pause to nurture the relationships that are there to support us, to be open-minded and listen to people that may have some great ideas for us to progress. And this is the time where those bulldozing mindsets, even though I am very proud of those, traits, I have to start really focusing on, well, with that has to come a calmness, has to come a quietness, has to come active listening. I have to listen actively in order to really ingest this information, because everything in life has a balance. We look at hot and cold. We look at black or white, but everything has an in-between. Sometimes it's not always really cold. Sometimes it's not always really hot. Sometimes it's not all black. Sometimes it's not all white. There is a gray area. So in understanding these concepts that we already know, we have to start implementing that within our lives. And we have to start honing in on what actual emotional intelligence looks like. It's your ability to read the room and the Zoom. So understand that we need to see these inefficiencies and deficiencies and what I call blind spots in others so that we ourselves don't get triggered, right? We need to find that balance within them as well. Not that we need to change them, not that we need to make them aware, because there's always a place and a purpose and a time for everything, and that may not be either or. But we have to understand that that person is behaving, reacting, or doing a certain thing because they are stuck in their own blind spot. And that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. So taking ownership, thinking like that CEO paralegal that I always talk about and that you guys lovingly named me, even as a support professional. It doesn't matter. We can still have leadership skills even though we're not in a leadership role. But that is the role that we want to strive for. So why are we not working on that now? Why are we waiting for opportunities? Why are we not creating those opportunities? Why are we not voicing these opportunities? Because without action, there's no traction. And we need to understand that. And this brings me up to my other one. Taking accountability. And I'm going to sit here and marinate for just a few minutes with you. Are you still clinging to the systems that no longer serve you? And by systems, I don't mean clocking in and out every day. I mean, there are certain boundaries, there are certain lines that are really, really hard for you to say no or to say yes, depending on what line you're talking about. And this transpires through your personal life and manifests through your professional because you're not putting your hard boundaries. You're not building those boundaries. They're not walls, they're boundaries. So let's talk about that. Why don't we talk about a simple boundary? If my hours are from 9 to 5, that is what I'm going to work. If I'm allocated 30 minutes a day to eat, take a break, whatever that looks like, I'm going to take those 30 minutes, regardless of the chaos, because that is not created by me. I am the firefighter. I am not the fire. And that is igniting more fire in me. It is burning me out. It is stressing me out. It is causing me anxiety. It is causing me sleepless nights. And that for me is a hard no. That is a boundary that I will no longer let you cross. Hey legal pros, are you ready to stop playing small? The Limitless Paralegal Academy is officially open, offering powerhouse courses, real-world tools, and expert-led training to help you build the career and life you actually want. We're not stopping there. The Limitless Paralegal Tour is hitting the road. We're bringing the mindset shifts, career strategies, and community straight to your city with epic speakers, actionable sessions, and zero boring PowerPoints. This isn't your average CLE. This is your legal career reimagined. Join the Academy, meet us on tour, become the legal pro everyone remembers. Visit limitlessparalegalaacademy.com to enroll and grab your ticket now. Be bold, be brilliant, but most importantly, be limitless. We have resisted learning out of fear or out of ego. Now, fear, hear me out, is a reaction. It's not really an emotion. And ego, even though we think of it as a negative thing, just like anything else, has a balanced positive. Your ego, whether it's good or bad, is telling you, hey, there's something going on, and I'm not feeling well. I'm going to give you a headache. I'm going to give you a back pain. I'm going to give you whatever it is. That is your body literally telling you that something is wrong, that you're anxious, that you're stressed, that you feel uncomfortable in a situation, that somebody just crossed a line. This is not to be confused with trigger. A trigger is something that you've not resolved in the past. For example, most of us are listening from around the globe. Culture, language, society, and family units have a lot to do with our foundational behaviors, traits, and the way we react to certain situations. So I'm going to give you my personal example, what my triggers were and I'm still working on, and how I created boundaries to protect myself from triggering. So I grew up in a family unit. I was technically an only child, although I do have a half sister, but she grew up with her mother. I grew up with our father and my mother. When I was 13, my parents divorced. At that moment in time, I created a trigger of instability. I learned that I need to take care of myself, that I need to create my own finances, my own independence, because one day that person that I leaned on the most will possibly go away. That was my first trigger. So that created something along the lines of, I need to work harder. I need to be strong. I need to be independent. There is no other choice. I don't need help because anybody that I lean on will possibly hurt me or hinder my growth. Instantly, at the age of 13. Although the divorce was super amicable, my parents did a wonderful job of maintaining the friendship. And I never really got to miss my father or see that he was no longer living with us because my father always had access to me as his daughter. And that was wonderful. But I created an subconsciously, this world, this trigger of, no, I got to be my own person. I got to do my own thing. And although in essence, that is a wonderful thing, when I suffered the most, when I lost and I grieved my loved ones, I never asked for help, because my trigger was, if I ask for help, they will hurt me or leave me or abandon me. So, how does that translate professionally? A boss that is trying to help me, that is trying to upskill me, that is trying to teach me and give me, constructive criticism, I fired back. My Latin, fiery, strong, independent woman fired back with a vengeance. And I was like, absolutely not. This is not acceptable. I work hard. I do all the things. I'm here on time. There's no reason why you should be giving me this criticism. And that hindered my growth for at least 2 to 3 years. Then I became a mom. I started tapping into my nurturing kind of personality and traits and boundaries. And that grew into a more positive ego. That's where my emotional intelligence really started to grow, because I started understanding that the world is not really how I thought it would be. It was only a perception of the world that I was looking at. I was looking at it through a lens, and that was not very helpful or healthy for me or anybody else around me. I was hurting people with my honesty and my brutality in my language. But none of this you would have known unless you knew me 10 years ago. Moral of the story is, we change, we evolve. That is the most beautiful thing that science and religion all agree on. Humans were made to evolve. We're made to grow. We're made to learn. That is why, supposedly, we are the smartest species on this planet. However, being aware of it should not bring you shame. It should bring you enlightenment. It should bring you insight. It should make you want to learn and grow more. Because without it, we will never be able to open those doors and create those opportunities. Mindset is just half the battle. We need to start being aware of these things and understand people who they are. We often get stressed and anxious and nervous when our clients come to us in an aggressive tone, or what we perceive as an aggressive tone, where they're being very fearful, because again, it's a reaction. They're not understanding what's happening. This is their first time, maybe their second time, but not every time is the same, as we know. And they're in this predicament, right? They're in this, I cannot control it. And it's a whole control thing, right? We need to control it. If we're not in control, if we're not the captain of the ship, if we're not the driver of the vehicle, then all else is lost. And we demolish ourselves. And we belittle ourselves. And that's where the negative thoughts come in of, I am not enough. I'm not smart enough. I can never get there because of this, this, and this. And that's where those walls and obstacles and boundaries keep getting pushed. But you're not behind. You're just pivoting. It's a new era. This is an invitation for you to release all of that. You have to embrace your talents. Grow where you need to grow, whether that's professional or personal. Either way, it's going to intertwine. And this is what our Limitless Paralegal Academy and the tour is all about. It's about bridging this gap. It's about teaching you the skills that were not taught to you in any degree, because I have 5 of them, and I was not taught any of this that the Academy offers. And it's about embracing your limitless potential. Often we are our worst critic, but we are the biggest setback as well. So it's not about finding problems. We all have them, and we're going to have them. They're never going to go away. It's about finding and creating solutions. Season 6 is here to light fire under this legal world. But here's the thing. Evolution requires action. So if something sparked a nerve today, good. That's the feeling of growth knocking at an open door. Until justice is served, I'll be her, guys. Bye.